I'm Connor Shields, I'm at Studio Kind, and this is my exhibition, Trespassed. A lot of the works come from the last 2 years on my MA course at the University of Leeds, and a lot of the reference comes from construction sites and ideas of working class masculinity and upbringing. I'm quite interested in construction sites as sites because of the materiality that they have and because of the assemblages that occur around these sites. They almost feel quite sculptural to me in the way that things lean, things are sort of propped up against things, the way that things hang. And I like to recreate a lot of that within my sculpture. A lot of the work is concerned with masculinity, particularly working class masculinity, and that's sort of the relevance of the industry and construction sites which do reference the work. This piece is Shifted Matter, and it's one of my most recent ones that was included in my master's show. I like the use of the construction netting, which feels quite fluid, and actually looking at it, you might not know at first what it is unless you look closer. But it's also interesting because of how strong it is, even though it looks very frail and very thin, and the way that it's able to support this concrete block that is leaned into it. There's something about it that feels quite theatrical, and there's almost a feeling of danger, or like, could the block drop? Solid mass, which sort of leans into this like fluid fabric, which just drapes itself around the space. And then it sort of comes out into this like roll. And I wanted to keep the roll almost to sort of give a clue as to what it is, to how it comes, how it's packaged in its original form. The Future is Certain is a work that is probably one of the most literal in terms of the works that I make. And I was looking at road signs and thinking about like altered messages that we see on them and the way that they can be vandalized. And then I was sort of thinking about the Talking Heads song. And yeah, when I first made the piece, it kind of felt like it was a comment on masculinity, and it kind of is in a sense, but then also it started taking on a lot of other meanings, sort of with things that are going on in the world, with like the striking students. There's also like a climate emergency, there's war that's happening, all these like events, and it sort of feels more like a piece that is activated when it's in action, when it's on a picket line, when it's out in the world. For instance, I took it around my university on graduation day and just left it places and just watched to see how people interacted with it. And some people just walked past it thinking that it was a real road sign. And then some people were laughing at it, some people found it quite humorous. Some students were getting pictures of their degrees with it. I thought that was quite funny and almost quite ironic. This work's called Manhandle, and I just kind of like the pointlessness of it, how this handle sort of is being placed in a brick, seemingly for ease of moving it. But I kind of compare it to the use of putting man on a lot of things to make it masculinized. It also references like a piece of exercise equipment, like a dumbbell, like you could lift it up to weightlift with. This is then referencing the gym as a similar hypermasculine space as construction sites are viewed.